Hello all and welcome to our webinar, China's fertilizer industry, overcoming overcapacity, low efficiency and environmental damage. I hope you're all doing great and are ready to learn more about China's market. My name is Patrick and I will guide you through this webinar. By my side is Elizabeth, our fertilizer expert, to give you her insights in the market today.
Hello everyone.
All the information we provide today are given by our China Fertilizer Market Intelligence brand, CCM, and global trade analysis firm, Tranalysis. You can find all the details and much more in our monthly phosphate newsletter or in industrial reports. Don't forget to contact our team if you have any questions or inquiries regarding China's fertilizer industry. To prepare you for the information we will learn today, let's first have a look at the agenda. First, we will have an overview about China's fertilizer business in 2017. Then we will talk about the promotion of organic fertilizers in China. The next topic will be agricultural supply side reform, followed by the new environmental tax law. The new fertilizer types development in China will be observed, and at the end, we will also have a look at the 13th five-year plan in China with the effect on the fertilizer industry. Without further delay, let's go into the presentation. The fertilizer market in China 2016 was marked by an overall depressed situation. However, the rebound was coming with the winter stockpiling season at the end of the year. According to experts' opinion, the fertilizer business is recovering again in 2017, with rising costs supporting an overall price rise. However, looking at the huge problems of overcapacity, environmental pressure, and inefficiency in the production, the market will remain weak. According to CCM's research, the fertilizer market in 2017 will be influenced by five major factors. The output is going to decrease, the demand for fertilizers will get reduced, the export sector will remain low, a price rise is expected due to increasing production costs, and the business will be significantly influenced by environmental policies. Elizabeth, can you give us some more detail about each of the mentioned points, please?
The fertilizer output in China in 2016 was 80.11 million tons. However, the demand only reached 66.1 million tons. Hence, an overproduction of 14.01 million tons was the result. Furthermore, the capacity of fertilizer even reached 131.67 million tons. This amount represents an overcapacity rate of 50%. Looking at the very low fertilizer prices, many manufacturers will likely lower their production, which leads to a decreasing output volume in 2017. Three factors will reduce the demand for fertilizers in China. Starting with low prices of agricultural products. China's farmers have little effort for planting, which results in a smaller planting area and hence less fertilizer needed. Secondly, the plan of China's government to achieve a zero fertilizer usage growth to 2020 leads to high innovation in optimized fertilizer usage and hence less demand for more fertilizers. Finally, the policy about controlled release of fertilizers in North China forces farmers to use fewer fertilizers, which also decreases the demand of those. In 2016, China has cancelled beneficial policies for the fertilizer industry. Hence, exporters are witnessing higher costs, getting less competitive on the international fertilizer market. The market capacity is also growing, which reduces the export volume of Chinese exporters even more. Industrial estimate a decline by up to 10% in China's export volume.
Before you go on, according to Tranalysis, the export volume of fertilizers slumped down in 2016 with a decrease of 22.41% compared to 2015. Furthermore, Chinese manufacturers are not looking forward to the exports in 2017, which is due to higher production costs and resulting in less competitiveness on the world market for fertilizers. Can you tell some more details about the export situation of fertilizers in China?
Sure. The surging export chain in China came to an end in 2016, which witnesses a decrease of the export volume of fertilizers for the first time in 8 years by 22.41% year on year. The largest drop in exports was seen for ammonium sulfate, whose export volume dropped by 35.6% to 8.86 million tons in 2016. As a result of the sluggish export of fertilizers in 2016, China's manufacturers had to suffer losses for the first time since many years. According to CCM, there are several reasons which back up the significant export drop in 2016. The global output and capacity of fertilizers did rise again, which caused a fierce market competition and lowered the price of manufacturers to keep some share of the world market. Chinese competitors even faced a worse situation in 2016, looking at increasing production costs while overseas manufacturers enjoyed some cost reductions. The increasing costs in China were caused by the abolishment of favorable policies for the fertilizer industry and rising prices of energy, transportation, and raw materials. Overseas manufacturers took benefits from sinking gas prices on the world markets. What's more, the situation of fertilizers export from China will hardly improve in 2017. The production costs for Chinese manufacturers are still higher than those of their competitors overseas. The global capacity of fertilizers will likely even increase, leading to a rising market competition. Even China's government will adjust their export tariffs to fertilizers again to ease the situation of manufacturers. Chainalysis doesn't expect any larger changes in the export business for 2017. The rising production costs of fertilizers are expected to play the main role in pushing up the fertilizer price in 2017. It's estimated that the average prices in 2017 will be USD 14.39 to 57.56 per ton higher in 2016, resulting in the price rises of raw materials, including phosphate ore, sulfur, urea, and liquid ammonia, and the increasing costs for transportation fees, coal, and electricity. As the environmental regulation in China becomes increasingly stricter, environmental policy is another important factor influencing the fertilizer business in 2017. Under a stricter regulation, the production costs of enterprises increase, which in turn may force them to adjust operating rates.
Okay, thank you. In the progress of establishing a more sustainable agriculture and stop the rising consumption of chemical pesticides and fertilizers, China's government has revealed the plans to replace chemical fertilizers used for tea, fruits, and vegetables with organic fertilizers. The policy should lower the dependence of China's farmers on chemical fertilizers and increase efforts against public health risks. According to the Ministry of Agriculture of the People's Republic of China, the use of organic fertilizers as replacement of chemical fertilizers is one of the key points in China's agricultural supply side structural reform. The plants, which are the main target for the trial fertilizer replacement program, are the aforementioned fruits, vegetables, and tea crops. What can you tell us more about this ambitious plan, Elizabeth?
The MOA has set a goal to 50% replacement of chemical fertilizers by organic fertilizers for the aforementioned crops. Due to the fact that the fertilizers for fruits, vegetables, and tea are accounting for about 40% of total fertilizer use in China nowadays. The effects of China's government will lead to a total replacement of chemical fertilizer by 20% until 2020. After the demonstration period in 2020, China wants to expand the replacement of chemical fertilizers to the whole country. This will lead a massive decreasing usage of chemical fertilizers in China. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, after all, China used 63 million tons of fertilizers in 2015. The amount used for vegetables, fruits, and crops was accounting hereby for 24 million tons, thus 40% of the total usage. If China is able to replace chemical fertilizers by 50% or more, a large reduction of 20% in total will be the result. However, the MOA is facing several difficulties to release the plan in the near future. Although China is producing an annual amount of 16 million tons of organic fertilizer, only 5% are an effective nutrient. Hence, it is impossible to replace the 85 million tons of chemical fertilizers with barely 800,000 usable organic fertilizers. Also, chemical fertilizers still are much cheaper than their green alternatives and also easier to transport. After all, the production of the same number of nutrients of organic fertilizers costs about 400% of their chemical counterparts.
In addition to that, the main organic fertilizers are made of livestock manure, which is containing a dangerous high number of antibiotics, which are able to get into the crops for human consumption. According to CCM, only an increasing focus on enhancing the production of commercial organic fertilizers can effectively improve China's organic fertilizer situation and makes the plan likely to be realized in the near future. Other ways of increasing organic fertilizer production, like straw incorporation, compost, and green manure, obtain a much lesser opportunity for effective organic fertilizer growth. We heard that the bespoke efforts are part of China's agricultural supply side reform. This reform is going to transform China's fertilizer industry significantly. The fertilizer industry is one of the main drivers for grain security and agricultural production in China. However, this industry is now suffering from a series of problems, including severe overcapacity, relatively low nutrient use efficiency, and environmental damage, as well as resource wastage triggered by the misuse of fertilizer. Hence, the Chinese government is responding to the promotion of the agricultural supply side reform. Coordination and cooperation are key aspects in advancing a supply side reform and eliminating the outmoded capacity. What strategies are now behind this new reform?
A key strategy in the supply side reform is the development of new types of fertilizers by over 30% till 2020. Currently, the share of new ones in the market is below 10%. This shall reduce the overcapacity of outmoded and low-level fertilizers. To achieve this ambitious goal, the government encourages companies to coordinate and combine their resources such as technologies, capitals, channels, services, and even grants. Therefore, joint innovation, research, production, and promotion can support transformation and improvements in this industry. Furthermore, a better competition of Chinese manufacturers in the fertilizer world market can be achieved by cooperative relationship of domestic producers as well as partnerships with overseas enterprises to get better access to international markets. As a matter of fact, this cooperation is already ongoing nowadays. For example, the three Chinese manufacturers Yuntianhua, Guizhou Kailin, and Wengfu Group already agreed to purchase their sulfur material collective in order to reduce costs. Guizhou Kailin also made a deal with Sino Holding Limited for strategic cooperation on the purchase and sale of fertilizer.
All right. I think now it's time to talk about the new environmental tax law, which will come into effect on January 2018. The new environmental tax law in China was approved by the end of 2016 and will come into effect on January 1st, 2018. The new law contains taxable pollutants, taxpayers, the amount of taxes, as well as the exemption score. It will mainly replace the current pollution discharge fee. It is necessary because under the old law, many local governments in China have been put more focus on the economic growth on the costs of environment. Some pollutant manufacturers were even allowed to pay fewer pollution fees when their contribution to the economy was big enough. To ensure a smooth transition from the existing discharge fee system to the new system of environmental tax, taxable items, taxation basis, and tax amount standards will be set according to the current discharge fee system standards, and those eligible for environmental tax will be the same as those who were eligible for discharge fees. The new law is the first one of its kind in China, aiming to get successful actions against the growing pollution in the country and protect the environment from heavy pollution discharge of several industries. The key factor to convince enterprises establishing environmental friendly productions and discharge systems lays in a tax reduction for significant pollution reducing actions. Can you give some insights into the differences of the old and the new pollution system?
Okay, one key difference to the old system is the tax break. It does allow a tax reduction of 25% if the pollution discharge, mainly wastewater and air pollution, is 30% lower than the national or provincial standard for this pollution concentration. If the company is even able to keep its pollution 50% lower than the standard concentration, they can apply for a 50% tax reduction at all. So the system clearly benefits environmental protection solutions for enterprises with lowering their costs. Besides air and water pollution, also noise pollution will be charged by taxes. The other key difference can be found in the tax collection management. As in the current system, the pollution taxes are being collected by the corresponding environmental authorities. The new law, however, will make tax authorities responsible for the collection. This process will make the collection much more standardized. A side effect of the new law is estimated boom of tax revenue for the government, surpassing USD 7.19 billion. Furthermore, the reward for low pollution will likely lead to an intense research in new energy and environmental protection opportunities.
What's more, China's government is increasing efforts to promote the development of new and more efficient fertilizers. Looking at China's outdated and oversupplied fertilizer industry, some types of fertilizer are likely to enter a period of rapid growth during and after the 13th five-year plan from 2016 to 2020, including water-soluble fertilizer, medium and microelement fertilizers, soil conditioner, and biostimulant to ensure the modernization of this industry. In recent years, the fiercely competitive and overcapacity market has forced some fertilizer producers to transform or upgrade and increase investment in the R&D of new products, which has accelerated the development of new types of fertilizer. The most promising fertilizer in China are controlled release fertilizer, value added fertilizer, and water soluble as well as liquid fertilizer. What can you tell us about these promising new fertilizer types for China?
China began research into controlled release fertilizer last century, and large-scale industrialization took place after 2000. As of late 2015, production capacity and output have risen to 6.2 million and 3.2 million tons respectively, and consumption remained stable at around 3 million tons. Value-added fertilizers refer to fertilizers to which natural active substances are added during the production process and include seaweed fertilizer, humic acid fertilizer, amino acid fertilizer, microbial fertilizer, and medium and microelement fertilizers. Reportedly, the global market size of value-added fertilizers currently reaches USD 1.4 billion, USD 0.2 billion of which comes from China. Since 2012, China has introduced many policies regarding the integration of water and fertilizer, stimulating technological development in this sector and the rapid growth of water-soluble fertilizer and liquid fertilizer, such as water-fresh fertilizer and foliar fertilizer. Science and technology are likely to guide the future development of the industry, and accordingly, advanced products are expected to replace existing outmoded ones, which are suffering from overcapacity. As capacity coordination improves, science and technology will play a more important role for enterprises, and those new types of premium fertilizers will possibly capture more market share in the future.
As the last topic for today, what is worth mentioning about the 13th five-year plan for the fertilizer industry in China?
On January the 5th, 2017, the State Council issued the Scheme of Energy Saving and Emission Reduction in the 13th five-year plan period. In this scheme, the major objectives, key assignments, and specific measures for the energy saving and emission reduction are illustrated, which is expected to make big impacts on the future development of the fertilizer and pesticide industries. According to the scheme, no new capacity projects can be approved in the severe overcapacity industries, no matter what the forms and ways are. What's more, China will make great efforts to promote their resource-conserving agricultural technologies and clean agricultural production. Specifically, promote the connection, processing, and utilization of feces in the livestock and poultry farms. Encourage, encourage the construction of treatment facilities for organic waste, such as straw and feces. Advocate the increase of organic fertilizer and fertilizing technology by testing soil. Carry out prevention and control for crop disease and pests. Promote the use of high efficacy, low toxicity, and low residue pesticides. By 2020, the usage amount of both fertilizers and pesticides applied in the main crops should achieve zero increases, and the utilization rate of fertilizers should increase to more than 40%. Notably, the objectives should be released by 2019 in the Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, Yangtze River Delta, and Pearl River Delta regions. Under the background of national environmental regulation, the fertilizer industry should optimize industrial structure, reduce energy consumption, and promote product upgrading. So many enterprises are encouraged to extend their developments in the ecological fertilizer sectors. For example, humic acid fertilizer is an effective one, which is able to improve fertilizer efficacy and reduce the fertilizer usage amount. In addition, the production technique and equipment need to be advanced and pollutant discharges decreased. Also, the industry should speed up its pace of eliminating outmoded capacities. Besides, via enlarging investment in science and technology, enterprises can extend their supply chains, strengthen the utilization of waste such as phosphogypsum, increase the resource utilization rates and the added value of products, so as to meet required environment standards and release profits.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. That leads us to the end of this webinar. Thank you all very much for attending, and we hope you could get some key points out of the presentation. Be reminded, all the information today was enabled by our brands CCM and Trinalysis. If you want to find out more, I recommend you to have a look at our websites and contact our team for any questions and inquiries. Also, you now have the chance to benefit from our Easter Festival special, which allows you to have a free 2 weeks trial on our online platform. Try it out and find all information about China's fertilizer industry in one convenient place with a high customization and easy use. Also, if you have any questions left, please write them down in the chat box. There we will gather them and we will answer them detailed to your email address as soon as possible. Thanks again all for attending and have a very good day.